Hello boys and girls, this is Mrs. Winker-Rossio, and today we're going to be covering Chapter 6, Lesson 6.2 on comparing and ordering fractions, decimals, and percents. Reference pages to this can be found in your textbook, pages 122, or 222, I'm sorry, and 223. As a reminder, don't forget to take down all the notes in today's notes video for full credit. Alright, so when comparing, you need to make sure that you're comparing things or numbers of the same kind. So for example, if I want to compare a fish and a dog, that wouldn't make sense because a fish has fins and a dog has legs. So I can't compare them as far as how far they can go for a mile because the fish would be the slower one and the dog would be the faster one because the dog has 4 legs. So it's not the same kind of animal or species. So you need to make sure it's fish to fish or dogs to dogs. So with that being said, keeping in mind comparing, you have to have the same type of number. Okay, so I have here our first example. It says here, which is greater? So I have here a fraction and I have here a percent. Notice they're not the same kind of number. One's a percent and one's a fraction. So you need to decide, do you want to make it all fractions or all percent? Now looking at the two, I feel that percents would be the easier way for this example. So it just depends. So sometimes it might be the other way. So I'm going to change my 3 over 20 into a percent. So to do that, I have to divide, top goes in, 3 over 20 over, or 3 into 20. So top goes in, bottom goes out. And then I'm going to finish this. And once I finish this, you'll see that I have a point. Hold on. Really quick, points 100 here and 100 here. That's 5 times. 0.15. Well, 0.15 really means what? If I changed it to a percent, that's 1, 2, that's 15%. So now I have 2% here. One is 15% and one is 16%. Now the 15%, don't forget, is for this one. Okay? So which one's bigger? Obviously, 16% is bigger. So I'm going to highlight 16% is bigger than 3 over 20. Does that make sense? All right, let's go ahead and try the next example. So in my next example here, I have 79% and 0.08. Now again, they have to be of the same kind of number. I have a percent and a decimal. They're not the same. So to make them the same, decide either all percent or all decimal. I think I'm going to go with all percents because it seems like it's the best way for this problem. So since this is already 79%, I'll keep it at 79%. And this one, all I need to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right, and I will get 8%. So let's compare the two. Which one's going to be the greater? Obviously, 79% is the greater one. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 79%. So again, when you're comparing, you have to make sure they're the same kind of number. If not, you need to make it the same kind, whether you need to change it to a fraction or change it to a percent or change it to a decimal. Okay. Go ahead now, if you can take out a piece of paper and do problems 1 and 2 on your own. And if you need more time, pause the video and then solve the problem. All right, moving along to example number 2. In example number 2, you're talking about you, your sister, and a friend, and a friend, and each taking the same amount of shots at a soccer goal. So we want to know what is your percentage each person. So it says you make 72, but your sister makes 19 out of 25 shots, but your friend makes 60 or 0.67 shots. If I want to know who made the fewest shots, I'm comparing the percentages, or I'm comparing the amount. So to do that, we're going to place them in order by first writing down what they said. So what they said was 72%, and then they said here is 19 over 25. And then the other information they gave you was 0.67. So now I just need to make sure I label who's who. So you were the green one. So I'm going to go highlight the green one. So that's you. And then your sister was the yellow one. And then your friend was the blue one. Okay, so now looking at all of these numbers, I notice that they're not the same, so I can't compare them or put them in order. Remember, to compare and put them in order, very important you remember this for the lesson. You need to make sure they are the same kind of number. I repeat, the same kind of number. So percent, fraction, decimal, not the same. So do you want to make it all percent, all fraction, or all decimal? I'm going to say I'm going to make it all percent because changing them to percent is probably going to be the most favorite and most easiest way to do it. So 72% is going to stay the way it is, so keep it like that. 19 over 25, I'm going to have to show my work and show you how to get a percent by doing top goes in, bottom goes out. So 19 into 25 will give me a total of, give me 1 second really quick, 0.76. So that's going to be 7 times here and then 76. So I'm not going to complete the rest of them here, but I would like for you to show me the work here how I'm getting 0.76. I'll do one more step, that's 175, but you need to complete it. But I did get 0.76. Now this 0.76 really means how many percent? We'll move the decimal. Let's move it. 1, 2. So if I moved it twice, then that means the percent is going to be 76%. Okay, so now I have 2%. That looks good because they're almost all the same kind. Now I need to make sure that this one is a percent. So I'm going to move this one to the right because it's already a decimal. Very easy. We did a worksheet on this. If I want to make it a percent, just move it to the right twice, and our answer will be 67%. So now let's go ahead and compare what we have in our choices to put in order. We have a 72%. We have a 76%, and we have a 67%. Notice they're all the same kind of numbers, so let's put it in order. Who has the fewest shot? So looking at this, it looks like 67 is the fewest, so this would be the fewest, so fewest shot. So who did that belong to? It belonged to your friend. So fewest, oops, few. I'm going to go ahead and choose another pen really quick. Fewest would be your friend, so fewest. Who's the next lowest one? The next one I would say would be the green one, which is you. And then the number one soccer goal person, it would be the yellow one, which is your sister. So your sister is going to be the best one. Okay, so that's how you compare and order fractions, percents, and decimals. So let's go ahead and have you do this example on your own. Number 3 on the same paper that you started on your own paper. Today's on your own is going to be very short. There's only, I believe, 4 problems today. All right, last example, example number 3. It's talking about the population in the United States. If you look at the map here, there's 5 states we're going to talk about. This says the map shows portions of the U.S. population that lived in 5 states. So 5 states here, randomly chosen. List the 5 states in order. So we're going to put it in order by least to greatest, or from least to greatest. So what I did is I made a chart, and if you can do me a favor, make a chart for state, fraction, decimal, and percent, and then just copy down the green part. The star is hidden for a reason. So now let's look at all the green parts in the chart. Now, why are all these numbers written in? Because this is what they gave you. So now our goal is to put them in order. Now, like I said in my other examples, to put them in order, you got to make sure that they're all the same kind of numbers. And I'm looking at everything, all the greens. They're not the same. One is a decimal, one's a percent, one's a fraction. So let's decide, do you want to make them all decimals, all fractions, or all percents? I did say percents would be the easiest. So I'm going to go ahead and change this one to a percent by moving it to the right. So if I do that, here is my answer for the percent. I'm going to remove it with a star. Did you get 3%? Now this one, since it's already percent, I actually don't have to do work for here. So I'm just going to cross this off. You can leave this part blank, okay? So the next one, 1 out of 50. Well, what's 1 out of 50? I can do top goes in, bottom goes out, and I will get a decimal of 0.02. Remember, top goes in, bottom goes out. If I get 0.02, what does that mean? That means I can move the decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, and my or my percent would be 2%. Okay, so now I have 3%, 6%, 2%. Notice on this column, I can start almost comparing them just because they are almost all the same kind of number. I just have 2 more to do. So this one's a 0.12. So if it's a 0.12, I can change it to a percent by moving it 2 to the right. That will be how many? 12%. So there's 12. And then the last one, 1 out of 25, I have to do some work by doing top goes in, bottom goes out. So then that's going to be 0.04. Again, this part for the fraction, you have to divide on your own on the side. So for this, 0.04, I can move it 2 to the right, and I'll get 1, 2. The answer will be how many percent? Not 40, but 4. Okay, so I'm going to look at everything and now I'm going to compare them because they're all the same. I can put them in order because they're all the same. So since they're all the same, let's go ahead and put it in order. Which one's going to be the least populated state, the state that has the least amount of people? That's going to be the state of Washington. So number 1, it would be Washington, the least, 2%. The next one would be Michigan, the least. Then the next one would be Ohio with 4%. And then the next one would be New York with 6%. And the last one would be California. It is the most populated state because we are the largest state. Okay? So this was just a comparison to show you how to put numbers in order from least to greatest. And remember, you have to make sure they're the same kind. Last but not least, if you can do the last question on your own paper, on that separate sheet of paper that you have, and that will be it for the on your own portion. So one more thing you need to do for me is the exit ticket. Now, please complete the table below by copying down the table exactly the way you see it. And you're going to make a fraction, decimal, and percent column or row. And for each one, you're going to find the decimal and percent for it. So for example, 1/4 fraction, you need to give me the decimal and the percent. This is going to be the most common fractions you're going to see being used throughout the chapter and also in your daily life. So please complete this for your exit ticket. Any questions you have in today's video, feel free to ask me in class tomorrow. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Have a great day. Bye-bye.